Hi, my name is Erik Honderbrink and I'm presenting a video about modeling shoelasts, orthopedic shoelast in Rhino. I will be using the new SubD modeling method. That's for Rhino, a new method for modeling surfaces, and I use it for lasts because it has plenty of advantages. I will try to explain what the advantages are using this video. At the moment you see two feet rotating. The orange one, that's a 3D scan of a cast of a foot, and the brown one, the light brown one, is the final last that I will model. You see there are a lot of differences between those two. Let's stop this rotating. Here you see extra room for the toes. Everything is much smoother. There's extra space on the ankles. Let's get rid of this blueprint. I always use a blueprint when modeling lasts. There's extra room here around the heel. There's a cavity behind the ball to relieve the pressure from this part of the foot. You see there are a lot of differences. Now this scan, I will go to wireframe. This scan of the foot is made of thousands, 20, 30, 50,000 little points that are connected by lines. That's called a mesh. But to get from this mesh to this mesh, this last is also a mesh. That's the final product. When you send an object to a printer or a CNC mill, most CNC programs want you to deliver the models in as meshes. So this is also a mesh. But to get from this one, the yellow one, to this one, the other yellow one, when I select an object it becomes yellow. It's very hard to use meshes. There are programs that you can use to sculpt meshes, but they're more used for animation, movies and those kind of thing, games, but not for making lasts. If I want to change the shape of this mesh, I can select a bunch of control points and pull it somewhere, but you can imagine it will be very difficult to use all these control points to get from this shape to that shape. Okay, there are programs that use Rhino and NURBS, that's the native format of the objects in Rhino, to produce lasts. What you can do to change this object into a NURBS object is, for instance, you project a line, another line, another line, another line, project a lot of lines on this mesh. I'll rebuild these curves. That's okay. and then loft through these curves. And then you have a surface. I just used a few curves, but you can use a lot of curves, project them. I can show you that, but it'll cost a bit more time. And I have an example of such a surface here. So I've used a lot of curves here. You can project a lot of curves in one go. You don't have to draw them one by one, and you can script it and you can automate it. So, but that's the principle. Project curves or make intersections and loft between those curves, and then you get this surface. But this is a surface that is hard to modify because it has a lot of control points. Less than the mesh, but still. It's very hard to model a last out of this. What you can do is just leave it this way, don't change too much. You have the idea, okay, my cast was perfect, so I don't have to change much. I'll leave it like this. When it fits around my cast, I'm happy. And you take a nose cap from your library, pre-modeled nose cap, put it in place. I'll make this transparent so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that looks nice. And then connect these two surfaces. This one. Oh, sorry. Let's lock this one. Connect this one with a blend, and then I have a last. Let's connect those two. Blend surface. This one. This one. You can do a lot with these blends. Curvature, tangency. But I'll leave it like this. Okay, and I have a last. I'll close this gap here. I must make it completely flat to do that. Okay, a flat surface. Alright. So here I have a last. I can join all these surfaces. So now I have a closed poly surface. But again, modifying this last into something I really want is difficult. You see, I'm not quite happy with this last. This blend is not the way I want it. There are lots of things I'd like to change about this last, but I'm stuck because it has so many control points. It's not easy to model anything. The feather line is not nice. Lots of problems with this last. So what I did, I made another type of last. Let's get this one out of the way. And it's this last. I can put it. Oh. So now it's on the same location as my scan, so you can see all the differences. You see, it's a bit smaller. It's like it has the same effect as when you smoothen the surface of a real last. You lose a bit of material. There's some extra space around the ankles. There's extra room for the toes. Here you see that the toe is coming a bit out of the last, but that's no problem because I know from my experience that you can push this a little bit inside so you can have a nicer shape. Well, this video is not about how you should model a last, but how you can use SubD modeling to do that. I'll unlock this one and hide this one. So here I have my SubD last. And the main difference between the other lasts you saw is that this one has much less control points. In fact, this one has 250 control points. And those control points are at places that mean something, that have a function. As you see around the heel, I have those control points here. That means I can easily give more or less space around the heel, because these control points are aligned with the heel. I'll show you what I mean. Let's have another drag mode, UVN, line to object. Okay. Now I can move these control points in the direction of the normal of the surface. I can move them a bit up. And you see now I have extra space around the heel. If I'm not happy with the heel curve on the back, I can easily alter it. And these are things you alter when you make a last from a cast. If I want to have extra room on the end step, I can select these control points. But I can also select faces. Nice word. Or edges. Let's say I want to change the nose. I want the nose to be a bit longer. Let's have another drag mode, normal drag mode, Tsplane. I can make the nose a bit thicker. We have extra room for the toe, or the curvature, the curves on the top to have a safety nose, for instance, steel nose cap. I can make it one like this. Well, anything I want. I can play around with it as I like. I don't need all kinds of nose types in a library. I can do it on the fly. Make this a bit higher. For instance, I want some extra room around underneath the ankle to avoid pressure there. That's a common problem. What else can I can change anything I want. Extra room for the fifth toe, or if you have a hammer toe here, you can make it higher, or you have a bunion. Anything you want. You want to relieve pressure on the metatarsal heads, you can have more support here. I already modeled some support inside this one. You see this cavity. I want some more depth for the first metatarsal head. Now I can play around with it. There are other things. You see, here's the feather line, and this feather line is very tight. How do you call that? It's not rounded. It's sharp. It's a sharp feather line. On this part, I don't have a sharp feather line. I can make a sharp feather line if I want. For instance, if I want a sharp feather line here. I can select this edge, this edge, this edge, the edges I want to sharpen, and then select add crease. You see, now I have a sharp feather line here. I can play around with this. See. But I want to keep it rounded here around the heel. There are other things I can do with this last. For instance, I want to change the heel pitch a little bit. I can use this cage edit method. So I put it in a cage, and this cage has control points. I can also use a lot more control points if I want. Sorry. Or even a few hundred if I want. And by moving these cage points, the object inside goes with it. So let's say I wanted to change the heel pitch. I can select these points and get it up a bit. I want to change the toe off. I want to change the amount of pronation of the forefoot. See? All kinds of stuff. But when I want to change details of the last, I prefer to use the control points themselves. Let's go back. Okay, but now the question is, how do I get this last, this type of SubD last, fitting around the cast of my foot? I'll show you that in the next video. I hope this video has explained a bit about the advantages of SubD modeling, the fact that I can modify the last in any way I want, in an intuitive way. And my next video will be about how can I make this last with the control points on the points where I want them on any cast I've made for any client. Thank you for watching.